Hello everyone. Hi. If you're seeing this, oh gosh, I've got paint all over me. If you're seeing this, great. I did have this as a planned live stream. It was all set up. There were all the things going on. It was, all set up properly. And for whatever reason, I managed to delete that setting. So this is on a new link. So I hope you can all find it. I'm going to amble on for an extra couple of minutes just while hopefully you can find your way here and everything will be good. I'm wondering whether I can send a quick message out to everybody, but I'm not sure whether I can because I might disrupt what I've currently got and I don't want to do that. So what are we going to do today? So today what we are going to do is draw this rather cute little kitten. So I found this photograph on Pixabay, which is a great way to find reference photos that's royalty free, etc. So it is a really nice resource, basically. You will notice that there are a lot of artists who use the same resource, so you'll see a lot of the same images and you'll think, that looks recognizable. I know where you've got that one from, but it is actually really good. And to have a royalty-free picture to practice on, to get your skills up and running is a really, really good thing to do. And even if it's just sketching for a little bit, I am going to send a very quick email out for people just so that we know where we are because of my wonderful error that I did a minute ago. So I'm just going to very quickly send a new link out just to help people really, because this is going to be a nice little thing. I do a lot of these for the Smart Art Academy, which is an online art academy that I run. And this is actually one of the pictures and one of the workshops that we do. I'm all of a fluster because of this. I mean, things go wrong usually every single time. And it's just typical of me really. So I am just helping people out with the link. Continue, send email, sending now, go, send email. Congratulations, marvelous. Don't know why it's congratulating me, but there you go. Right. Andrew, oh great, people are here. That is fabulous, because the other thing I can't seem to see is my chat, which is really annoying. So let me see if my chat doc can come back and I can actually see chats. Honestly, I have this open. Oh, hi, Tessie. And oh, hi, Valerie, back again. Marvellous. Yes, and I can now see people and I can see the chat. Hurrah. Okay. Why, every time there's some sort of disaster, isn't there, with me? But yeah, here we are. We've all got the right link. Marvellous. And Andrews and Sussex on the sea. Marvellous. Right, so what we're doing is we're doing a little charcoal demo. Now, I'm going to be doing this on grey Strathmore paper because I like using a tinted paper. However, you can tint white paper. So I have some white paper with me. So I'm going to put up a little bit on how I do that very quickly and why, because we're all about the why here. And if you understand the why, it kind of helps a little bit, I feel, in actually doing things. Right, so I need to do this and switch my cameras around, because that would help, wouldn't it? Then you can actually see what I am doing. Don't know what's gone on there. Right, let me change my thing around. Right, you can now see my paper. Super. You can now see the little kitten that we're going to be doing, which is super. Oh, Karen's found me. Thank you. Excellent. Right, and I'm going to just put on my little circle camera so that I can still see you while I'm drawing, because I like to do that. Okay, so let me put my little light on over here to make that a little bit brighter as well. There we go. Okay, so I like to use a tinted background. So like I said, this is a Strathmore toned grey. The reason I like to do that is it gives you a middle ground. You don't have to do as much work if you've got a pre-tinted base. However, if you have white, you can absolutely still use white. What I would do with white is I tend to get some willow charcoal, and I will just rub the willow charcoal over the white paper, like so. This is a do-it-yourself toned paper, basically. And then I would, with a kitchen towel, blend that in to give a nice tone on my paper. And what that basically means is when we're wanting to, let me put that light up a bit, then it's not quite as glary. When we're wanting to, how do I turn this down? Actually, let's turn it, no, that's going up. I don't want to go up, I want to go down. There we go. Right, when I'm wanting to do some erasing, when you've got a tinted background like this, you can use your eraser. So I've got some putty rub erasers here. She says, getting it out of the little packet. And you can then go into the white, come back to white with your eraser, and then you can effectively draw with that. And then if you have a tinted paper, you can use your white charcoal as a highlight. So I like being able to put highlights on paper. When you're using just white and doing things directly on white, that is as light as you can go. So it makes it a little bit harder. So let's start, shall we? So I'm going to start by breaking things down into shapes. And I'm going to start with my willow charcoal. And get a different piece out that's slightly, that one's, oh no, I might use that one actually. It's a bit easier. It's a square one, so it makes it easier to grip. So you'll note our little, let me get my picture up here. Our little kitten is essentially circles. We've got a circle here, we've got a circle here, and we've got a big circle here. There's a little fly flying around here. It's very, very annoying. So I'm going to draw my 3 circles on my paper. So I'm going to draw a circle for the head. I'm going to do a circle just underneath and kind of here for my shoulder. And I'm going to make that a little bit kind of ellipsed, just a little bit. And then I'm going to do a big circle for the body and things. And I've probably done this a bit too big on my paper, but that's kind of what we're looking at. And I'm not doing this particularly preciously. These are just 3 circles. But what you can see then is that gives us our kind of shape of our body. And it kind of gives a nice shape here. I've probably done that a little bit too far out, but that's fine. I might bring the head a little bit out a little bit, but we'll sort that out later. And then what we've got is a kind of a rectangle bit here. This is the front leg. And then we've got the little tail which sticks out and kind of goes under this wall that it's sitting on. So I'm just going to do a little line across just to indicate that she's sat on a wall, or he's sat on a wall. In fact, I'll do it slightly higher up because we can see that the bottom is kind of there and the tail dips down and then looks up So that's kind of where I'm going with it. So these gives us our shapes. I needed to move the head over a little bit because I think the body really needs to come out more. I've got a little bit of space. It just means that we've got a bit of an interesting line going on there, but that's fine. I'm wanting these to sort of sit a little better, but we can work on that. So now we've got 3 circles. So 2 small and 1 big circle. And I'm kind of looking to see, okay, where is my kind of middle? So if I look on my kitten, I'm use my pencil, and I probably should have done this before really. I want to have a little look at, okay, from the neck to the bottom, it's about the same width as this bit here. So we've got kind of a square going on. So I'm going to look and see whether I did that correctly. Actually, it's not too bad. I didn't need to bring that out as much as I did. Measuring like this helps because it's very easy to forget for your eye to do these little adjustments. Your eye will say, oh, actually, that's really kind of wide. And when you measure it, you think, oh, actually, no, that's a square. And what it's showing me as well is if I go from the bottom of this circle to the top of this circle, and I'll go from here to, oops, do it this way around there. Again, that's about the same. So we're about, I probably need to move this circle up a little bit. The great thing about charcoal is it's really easy to move. So I can make that circle go up a bit. And that seems to feel a little bit better on my paper. So what do we do next? We start with our shapes. The next thing we do is, and feel free to mention in the chat if you think you know what comes next, or if you have any questions as well. So I'm going to stick with my willow charcoal and I'm going to squint at my picture. And I'm going to squint and I'm going to look for dark shapes. So there's a dark shape here and there's a dark shape here. And that's kind of almost like a square shape, isn't it? So we're still looking at squares and circles and we're looking for shapes and shading. So I'm now going to look at my picture and I'm going to think, oh, okay, how far, is that about halfway up that circle? It probably is about halfway up that circle. And it kind of goes down to where our tail starts, and our tail starts about in line with the back of our head there, doesn't it? So it's probably about there. I'm going to look down and see if I draw a line down there. Yeah, so it kind of comes down here. So I need to bring that head out a little bit more maybe. So this is our square. So I'm going to shade my square in with my willow charcoal. Obviously it curves round a bit at the bottom. And this, if you think about basic shapes and how shading works, when you turn something away from the light, that's when it gets darker. So we're going to just turn this shape around. It kind of has got a little bit of an up in it there. And I'm just going to shade that in. I'm going to shade a bit of the darkness of the tail in as well, underneath. And then we've got this dark shape up here. So I'm going to fill in a bit of this dark shape here. You'll notice I haven't done any ears yet. We'll do some ears in a second. In fact, let's just move the ears because the ears kind of come up and they come down to kind of, if you look at it, you've got, because she's looking up, the ear kind of comes in here, goes up directly from the back of the head, and then there's a second ear peeking out over this way here. So I'm just going to put those dark shapes in. Like I say, and I'm just going to just give them a bit of a shade. I might put a little bit of shading in there. And now I'm going to do a little bit of blending to just smooth out those shadings. So I'm just, with a circular motion, I'm just blending in that darkness, and then I'm going to take it all over the head, all over this bit. This bit here is very light, so I'm not going to do that, and I'm just taking this charcoal and just moving it around to give us a little bit of idea of our shape of our cat. And you can see now there's a little bit of form happening. So now I'm going to go back in with my charcoal and I'm going to darken that dark area again. And what this is with charcoal, I love charcoal. I can't get enough of it. It's such a versatile medium. It's so great. Is that you can really push and pull. So you can really play with these darks and lights. And you can add extra darks. And when you blend, of course, everything gets lighter because you're moving that charcoal around, you're distributing it. I haven't put any features in, that's fine. We're going to put features in later. I'm starting to now, when I put these darks in, I'm trying to think about where my edges are, where we've got a little bit of shadows. We've got a little bit of shadow kind of coming round the edge of this front paw. Yes, I really have done that a little bit. Probably needed to come up a bit and then down here, didn't it? So let's move that with the shading. I'll just shade this. This is the dark, one of the darkest areas. And if you'll notice, the sort of tiger patterns almost in the fur, isn't there? So we can really accentuate that with our movements about how we're putting that charcoal on. We're going to blend again, so they're going to disappear. But it just helps when you blend. It will leave a little bit of a memory almost. That's kind of what the blending does. And what I'm going to do as well is get my putty rubber, and I'm just going to tidy up a little bit around that bit there. And I'm going to put the bottom of my cat on the ground a little bit more. There we go. And I'm going to take my kitchen towel and blend again. And you'll see that in blending, I'm moving the kitchen towel in the direction of the fur. So what I'm wanting to do is just give that a little helping hand on the illusion. I'm just going to just take this up here. So now again, we're starting to build a bit of body, a bit of depth into our painting, into our picture. So now I'm going to, again, I haven't put any details in yet. I haven't put any little eyes or anything like that. I'm simply putting in the darks, keeping on, just looking at where are my darks. And I'm now looking at where my darks are in relation to these stripes. You don't have to be photorealistic here. We're just looking at roughly where do those stripes sit. And again, popping it on with the charcoal. Because what we're going to get is this is going to kind of sweep around here, this dark, and that is then going to be a lot lighter, but we're going to put that lightness in with our eraser, and also a little bit of white charcoal. Love a bit of white charcoal. So I'm just adding in, like I say, these extra darkening, really darkening the back of that ear, bringing it up a little bit. And so we're starting again, like I say, to get this really nice feel. I probably should have stuck my picture, my God, words, honestly. Paper even down a bit, then it doesn't move around quite so much when I'm smudging. I'm just looking at where some of my markings are. And then again, I'm going to take my kitchen towel and lightly soften those marks, so they still see them underneath. Matisse used to do this a lot in his drawings. He would draw a still life, for example, and then he would blend it away. But you're always left with almost like this shadow of the original painting underneath. And that's really nice because then that comes through. And each time you kind of go over things, it leaves like an echo of where it was. So I think now what I want to do is maybe put some details in, a little bit of nose perhaps, a little bit of eyes and that sort of thing. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look at, on this reference photo, let me put it there, then you can actually see what I'm pointing at when I'm pointing at things. I want to look at what's happening here. And what we've got is we've kind of got a line that kind of arches round the mouth and the nose and the eye, and it kind of comes to the end of the ear, which is here, and it kind of moves around. It drops down before that other ear happens, so it kind of comes down here, and I'm just going to draw it in a reasonably straight-ish line. It's coming under this nose, and then we've got a line down for our mouth, which then kind of moves off into this wonderful V shape, and then this nose sits on top, and again it's almost like a little V shape, and our eyes sit in here, which is lovely. And what we don't see, we see a lot of this with people who then draw the under eye, but if you look at that under eye, there's no dark in there at all. In fact, quite the opposite, it's very light. So I'm just going to put a hint of a iris in there. I know it doesn't look anything like an eye at the moment, but that's fine. And I'm just starting to get an idea of where this kind of moves around. And we've got some dark in the ear, and we've got some kind of dark fur that comes up here and down the side of our nose. There's a little bit of dark in that ear, but not much. And our nose has got light hitting it, but then it goes dark. And it looks a bit weird there at the moment, and that's fine. We're going to change that up a bit and make it look a little bit better once we've got some whites and some erasing in. So yes, I've just erased most of that by blending. That is normal. We've got a shadow now of where I want my face to be. So now what I can do is I can go and put in some more shade. I'm going to put some shading under the chin, because although that's white, it's still in shadow. And if you note that that mouth I had was coming way too far down. So if I look at my reference photo, the nose is quite high up. So it's almost as high as, so I'd started it there, and I should have started it just here so that it's higher. And then that mouth kind of comes down and it's much higher up. So it's more there, really. That's kind of an idea of what I want, and it tips down rather than up. So I want to make sure I get that angle right. And then it kind of comes up in a little smile almost underneath that cheek. And this is all very kind of smudgy, etc. That's fine, because what you're not seeing is, of course, all the white bit that's going to stick out of here and on the edge of this ear as well. So I'm just going to tidy up where I've got some smudginess. And what I'm going to do is again, I want to get some more of this dark in here. Just adjust that shape a little bit. If you have any questions, by the way, do ask in the chat. I do try and keep an eye on it. And so if you have any questions using charcoal or blending methods, or the fact that it does look very kind of off at the moment, that is perfectly normal. At the moment we're just putting in the darks. We haven't looked at any lights, we haven't put any details in. We're literally just looking at where are our darkest darks and just keeping on adding that extra bit into our paper, really kind of scrubbing that charcoal in, because what we will do is we will then come in with some lights, and the more charcoal we've got on here to cover our the really darkest areas, when we start pulling that charcoal out, it makes a big difference, because then we've got a way of shading. Oops, shouldn't really use my finger, because of course fingers have grease on them. I use my finger all the time normally, but you should use kitchen towel or something, or a blending instrument is better, because then you don't get all that grease on. It takes more of the charcoal off when you use your finger. So we have the start of our cat, and we can start seeing the form turning around, which is what we're wanting to do. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of a background in, not much, but I just want something a little bit darker maybe on this side. We do have some sort of trees and leaves and things. I'm not going to do anything very realistic. I'm just going to maybe put some shapes coming in behind this kitten, and literally I've just got the charcoal on its side, and I'm just making some interesting marks and shapes with it. You can do anything you want. You don't have to go with what is on the paper. So like on the wall, I'm just going to do some marks on, again, charcoal on its edge, just pulling down. So actually you couldn't see what I was doing there underneath. What I'm doing is, let me put some paper up there and give an example. I've got my charcoal on its long edge, and I'm just pulling it down the paper like this. And that gives a nice texture. So I don't want to blend that. I'm just giving that to give a really nice texture. It's great for tree bark. It also can be really nice for bricks, because you can then maybe move it along. And now you've got this really lovely texture, which is so nice. And so you can use that to whatever you want to do on this kitten. So I've got some nice kind of texture on there. I've got some interesting shapes coming down here, sweeping shapes, which might be interpreted as leaves. It could be interpreted as just about anything really, couldn't it? But it just makes for something a little bit different. I'm not going to do anything on this side. This side I'm going to leave quite light, I think. So now I've got an idea of how my kitten's looking, and I've got an idea of a rough background. One thing to be mindful of when you're using charcoal is to keep your hand lifted, because if you rest it on your paper, you're going to end up with black charcoal all the way down here, which you're going to quite cheerfully move and smudge all over your painting, your picture. So now I've got my compressed charcoal pencil, and I want this just to start putting in those features. Now, the reason I'm using compressed charcoal is it's like a pencil, so it's easier to control. So you've got a nice point, but also it doesn't smudge as much. So if I was going to do, again, let's use this as an example then. If I was going to put something, a detail on, say, I don't know, let's just shade the eye, which is what I was about to do. So if I was to put that on with willow charcoal, you can see instantly that not only is the The willow charcoal is lighter than the compressed charcoal. But more importantly than that, when you come to blend, the willow charcoal will very easily blend to next to nothing, so you've just got that shadow that we talked about. The compressed charcoal will blend, but it doesn't blend as much, so it maintains its integrity, as it were, which means that it's really nice for using as a contrast piece, as great for details like this eye. So I'm just going to put a concave sort of like, basically make sure that you use a half semicircle for that eye. See, I put my hand down, the iris, because that is the curve of the eye. Remember, our eyes are circles, after all, they're spheres. We can just see the other eye just peeking out there. But what we can see as well is, of course, this nose here. So I'm going to just look at it a little bit closer. I've noticed it's more of a kind of an L shape like this, kind of sort of the edge of a square, and then it kind of comes up a bit. And I'm just looking at just the details of this, and it kind of goes over the edge of our, it goes higher than that, doesn't it, because it's higher up. Let's put that there. And then we have the bottom of the nose, which kind of comes out to the line underneath, which is at an angle going this way because of the way the head is. I'm just going to take my kitchen towel and just blend it slightly, just soften it rather than blend it, but just soften it slightly. And I'm also going to get rid of that mark there because that's just a bit wrong. And then I'm going to put my there's a little kind of almost triangular bit there, which is definitely with more detail. And then I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. And at the moment it looks a bit funny because we haven't got half of this face here is quite white, and so we don't have that on our picture at the moment. And I haven't done any lights in there yet. So I'm just going to have a little look at where our other darks are, and our other darks are absolutely on this ear. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the darkest charcoal on the ear. And I'm just going to gently I'm not doing details on here. I'm not, drawing all the fur or anything like that. What I am doing is in the direction of the fur. I'm just looking at these marks that are really dark that I want to show up, and I'm just placing my compressed charcoal, and just going over these really darker areas. And again, making sure that my compressed charcoal is going in the direction that my fur is growing. So it's kind of that way, isn't it, on there? But here we are, just looking at where are my darkest darks. I'm just going to pop a little bit in with this compressed charcoal. Just getting this lovely, almost tiger look to the picture, just keeping an eye on the time as well. You know what I'm like, I'll just trundle on. Before you know it, it'll be 10 o'clock. Which wouldn't be good. Well, I'll be having a good time because I'll be drawing, but we don't want to do that. And I'm just going to, again, take the charcoal and just looking at where my darkest areas are. So this, where the cat is sitting, and you'll get this, it's like when you're drawing spheres, and like your core shadow is always that bit where no light is going to hit, and that's where things curve down and curve under. We've got this wonderful kind of curved feel, and I'm just going to go over this, like I say, with this compressed charcoal. No details, there's no individual fur or anything like that happening. We're just looking at putting in some darker areas, and now that kitten's looking starting to really come alive. So again, I'm going to take my very expensive exclusive blending tool, and I'm just going to soften these marks with my kitchen towel, just pulling them slightly. And you can see it doesn't disappear as much as the willow charcoal does, but it just does soften it so we don't look as if we've got these drawn on bits. Like I say, I'm not going to soften the bit underneath because I like that texture. And this is where you can sort of see what it is that you do like and keep what you like and change what you don't. This is your painting, your picture after all. And you can have it soft on these edges because of course the fur is going to be sticking up all over the place. So it does give kind of this hazy feel to everything. So now our kitten is really beginning to come alive a little bit. She's looking really quite lovely. But what we haven't done is we haven't put any lights in here. So what we're going to do is with our eraser, actually I'm just going to take a little bit off around here just so that that's better. She looks like she's, or he, sorry I keep saying she, could be a he, just get that movement a little bit. So what I'm going to do now with my putty eraser, and I love these, you could of course use a mono zero as well, works just as well. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at the light areas. So we've got all this is really light. In fact, that's lighter than the paper. So we're going to be putting some white charcoal chalk on these bits. But here and under here, and we can just see little bits over here, it's lighter, and especially on the eye. It's not white necessarily, but it is lighter. So what I'm going to do is use my putty eraser to start putting in some texture. So I'm looking at where are my light areas, and let's get that out of the way. And what I am doing is taking my putty rubber and I'm just putting in little marks. I don't want anything too in order, as it were. I want it a little bit higgledy-piggledy because that's what makes things look really realistic, when things look like say all natural, because it's like when you have hair and things, you know, your hair is never perfect. So what I do have is this area coming over here, the thigh effectively, and I'm just going to take my putty rubber and I'm just carving out where this light bit is. And I'm just pulling that lightness over. Like this, so it breaks up that dark area. And now your brain goes, ha, that looks like fur. You know, we've done no detail here at all. I'm a huge fan of, you know, no detail drawing, really. You just give the illusion, give the impression, and your brain is so clever, it will simply fill it in for you. It'll go, oh, this is a cat. A cat has fur, mostly. Therefore, this must be fur. Oh, look, it looks a bit sort of uneven and a bit sort of with a bit of texture. That must be fur texture, and your head will absolutely fill in the rest. It's craziness. So what I'm doing down this side here, where we've got these sort of stripe bits coming round, I'm literally just dabbing my putty rubber. So I don't want these too light. I just want to have a little bit of an idea that we've got something curving round, and it looks a bit like fur. And again, this tail, I'm just going to flick up and out. So these are longer furs, but again, now we look like we've got something a little bit longer. And again, we've got, this is going to be white on the outside, so I want to make sure when you're putting white chalk down, you don't want any charcoal underneath it, so, because then it just kind of muddies it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure that where I'm going to put the white on, I don't have any charcoal, which is why we didn't really do much charcoal here. So I'm just now dabbing in this little pattern here. I'm going to take that away completely because that's going to be, I'm going to put some white charcoal on there. That's going to be white charcoal, and just under around here is going to be white charcoal. So we've kind of got half of that cat looking like it's missing. It isn't missing. We're going to bring it back shortly. And I'm just going to take that. I think what's happened is I've made that mouth a little bit too high up. I think I probably want to do it sort of here more. Or do I? No, maybe not. No, we'll leave it as it is. And we've got some lovely little marks coming over here. And then we've got some lovely marks coming up the ear. And this ear actually doesn't have a dark line round it, it's got a white line round it. So I'm actually going to erase all of this, and I'm going to be drawing it back in with a white afterwards. I'm just going to have a look at the back here. What have we got going on here? We've got some interesting little marks coming over here too. And then there's some interesting marks being pulled up from the edge of our cat here on the back, where we've got a little bit of a halo effect almost. And because this is a kitten, the hair is a little bit longer, it's a little bit floofier. Oh, well, thank you, Tanis. It's nice to see people liking it. So this is I'm just going to again put in a little bit of cutting in, because we're going to put white over the top, but you can see now we've got some texture appearing, which is fabulous. I think I need to darken this a little bit more. I've kind of gone a little bit too much with the eraser on there. So I'm just going to add a little bit more willow charcoal back in. Again, great thing with the charcoal, you can just readjust, blend. It's nice and easy. I think actually what I've got is I probably should have put the back coming up a little bit more. So we should really have maybe done the back here. Yeah, that's better. So again, I'm going to put some, make it look like it blends in. There we go. Every time I do this, it's different. And every time, somebody else does it, it will be different. It's your interpretation always. So what I've avoided is the eye. So again, I'm getting my putty rubber, I'm making it into a point. That's what makes these putty rubbers so amazing, is you can really shape them. And I'm looking at not putting a dark line under that eye, but instead using my eraser and taking out a little bit of light around it. And that is much more effective. And we've got a light highlight in the eye itself. So what I might do actually is get my mono eraser out for this. So a mono eraser is a hard eraser, but it's again like a pencil. So what you can do is use it like a pencil, so you can get much more precision with your erasing. So I've got a little bit more precision there, and I'm just going to use it. Actually, I'll show you what I mean, because if you're doing fur, it's actually so good. I mean, this is what I think I might use for the whiskers, because you can really get some nice fine lines with it. And you can get fine lines with, I'm going to just put a bit of extra dark on here actually, with the putty rubber as well. But you get some really nice fine lines with the mono eraser, so you can give a really nice kind of feel to the movements that you can get on it. So I'm just sort of stroking it in the direction of the fur, I'm going to just put some extra fur bits under here. It kind of looks a bit strange because it looks like we've got half the kitten missing. So what I'm going to do now is get, oh actually I'm just going to quickly tidy up to make sure I don't have, after just saying to you, don't have any charcoal underneath when you put white in. Yes, I've got some. So this is a white, this is actually a General's white charcoal pencil. You can get white charcoal pencils from just about every Faber-Castell, Derwent, all the makes do them. But this is where tinted paper really comes into its own, because what you can do is when you put the white on, it really pops, which I absolutely love. So what I'm going to do is put this, looking at where my highlights are, I'm going to start with the body and I'm going to work up to the face last, I think. So I'm just at the moment, just like we did with the darks, where we actually didn't take enough white dark off there actually. There we go. Where we put in shaded, we didn't put any detail. That's exactly what we're doing here. Initially, we're just putting some shading in. I've just gone slightly over, so let's take that back. So I'm just putting some initial shading in, just blocking in where my lights are. And then I will go over it with some brights. So what I am going to do is just here, you can see a bit of this being mudded because I haven't erased all the charcoal underneath. But what I'm wanting to do is just where we've got these really nice long hair coming out from the thigh, I just want to put that in. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting in some random, and you do want to crisscross it a little bit, because like I said before, your hair isn't, you know, immaculate. What makes this look more realistic is the fact that it's not perfect. If it was perfect, it would look weird. So you want to give it a little bit of a higgledy-piggledy fashion. I want to make sure that I've got a little bit of a, I'm just going to put a little bit in here too. And what I'm going to do is soften the edges, because we want them to kind of just vanish into that fur. It's just having the light caught on it just a little bit. And I'm going to do the same with the tail. I'm going to put some random long strokes in, just at the tip of this tail where it's catching the light. Just a little. I might put some extra charcoal in there because we are seeing a little bit underneath too. And thinking about where our lights are, under this tail will have a shadow, so I'm going to just darken that a bit so that it's got a little bit of a story to it, as it were. And then I can just pull some hair into that darkness, that shadow. So then this tail is sitting over the top. It's not sitting in. Again, I'm just going to change that up a little bit. So we've got a little bit of a tail coming round there. And then I'm coming back with my white, and I'm going to continue with my white going up this leg. So I've got some really nice light fur coming on here. I'm just going to take that out. Every now and again we see little kind of bits that come over the edge. This is where scribbling is quite cool, because if you go over the edge, it really doesn't matter. To be fair, going over the edge should never really matter. And that's what when I talk about people who say, oh, I can't draw, I never did any good at school, and normally it's because I talk about this a lot in the Smart Art Academy and in the Sketching Club actually. Normally when you're little and you're told you're not good at art, it's because you can't colour in the lines. Now, I never coloured in the lines when I was little, mainly because I was a right rebel, but also it just wasn't a thing. I just didn't understand that. But what it is their teachers are wanting to teach you fine motor skills, which is great. That's what they're there for. They want you to learn to be able to write, to have pen control, and colouring in the lines is all part of that learning. So now I'm putting a great big white, and I'm looking at the big white shape that's under the cat here, and we're just putting this in because this is what we had missing before. And again, I've got lots of lines coming out over the edge. But yes, so you were often told at school that you're never good at art because you can't colour in with the lines. What they're really saying is you're not good at your fine motor skills weren't good, had absolutely nothing to do with art. But a lot of people carry that with them their whole lives, believing they're no good at art, when in actual fact it had nothing to do with that, and they may actually be really great, because there is no right and wrong in art. It's what you perceive, and if it's put you off trying before, try again, because it's so relaxing. It's such a good feeling creating. I am a little bit passionate about it, as you can gather, and I love to help people rediscover that, and rediscover the fact that drawing a little kitten in charcoal, it's just really a couple of circles, and then it's all about lights and darks. And if you squint oh, pardon me, if you squint, you can see lights and darks a lot easier. That's why you get a lot of people going, oh, if you want to draw art, etc., you have to squint at things, and it's true. And what they may not have said is why you squint at things and makes it happen. I'm just putting some white around the outside here as well, just where that light is bouncing off the back, those back little pieces of hair. But yes, the reason why you squint at things is if you take a moment now and squint at your drawing, what you're seeing are those light and dark areas. It takes away all the detail so that you actually then see what's actually going on. And it's the lights and darks, not the details, that really make a picture and make a painting. It's the contrasts. And you can also see whether you've got it. If you're wanting for something to be accurate, it's the best way to look to see whether you've got that accuracy or not, is to squint. I'm going to put a little bit more light in there. I think I'm going to use my mono eraser. And I'm just going to lighten up some areas in here. And you can kind of draw with your eraser. That's another cool thing that's quite good, is you can actually use it to your advantage. Now I'm going to put some white in this eye now, just on the edge here, just to really bring out that contrast a little bit. More over there. I love the dark that you get, sort of the Egyptian feel that you have for cat's eyes. I've gone over there a little bit much. Let's just take that back a bit. And just go into this white just a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of highlight. If I was working in colour, I would put this a little bit blue, just to give it a little bit of life. Because of course we have blue reflection is usually water reflected on our eyelids, our eyeballs. And it just again gives a little bit of a clarity. I will post mine in the Academy so you can see. Oh, thank you, Karen. That would be great. Karen is a member of the Academy. It's so nice. I do love seeing what people have done. It's really, really nice. I'm just adding a little bit more of... does the charcoal dust wash out of clothes okay? Or should I do something extra with my dress before I wash it out? Before you wash it? Charcoal washes out super easy, Karen. No, I spend most of my life covered in charcoal. It washes really easily. No problem at all. Don't worry about it. Just pop it in the wash and it will be fine. Oh, honestly, I'm always covered in charcoal. Right, if I'm not charcoal, oil paint, or today actually it's gloss paint because I've been decorating. Right, I'm just going to put a little bit of extra shading because I think I've done too much white on this, and then you can see how that charcoal's blended into the white a little bit, which is what I didn't want to do, but never mind. Right, we have 4 minutes to go, I think. Oh, let the time fly. And I'm going to put some whiskers. We've got to love a bit of whisker, haven't we? I'm just going to put a little bit of extra white just on the tip of that tail, just to give it a little bit of extra zhuzh. So whiskers, everybody hates whiskers. The thing with whiskers is you've got to be a bit bold and you've got to know where you're going. So I kind of do a couple little practice things without putting my pencil on the paper, and then I will just go for it. And I'm going to go another one. And I'm going to do another one. And another one. The key is where they begin, because cat's whiskers begin in all along sort of a little set path almost. And there's loads of these. And it doesn't matter which, that they're going off in different directions. In fact, that's a really good thing. And you can see some coming over on this side as well. So I'm just going to pop a few in. You can't really see them on this camera. And you get some coming off the eyebrows as well. So I'm going to put some across here. So I'm kind of, let me show you that. So you can kind of see, can you see those whiskers? You can sort of see the whiskers now a little bit. The tinted paper means that you can see the whiskers a little bit better, which is nice. And there's a little bit of a highlight on the upper lip actually of this, or lower lip rather, of the kitten. So I'm just going to pop that in there. So we can see you've got a little bit of a lip going on. And that's kind of it, other than, of course, the most important thing in any painting, sign your name. Because, you know, it's your masterpiece and it's awesome. And you never know how things pan out, that you may actually be super, super sought after by all your family. Right, I could play and do this forever. So I hope you enjoyed the little kitten that we've done in just about an hour, and you can see the versatility of charcoal and about how you can really make it your own. You can really make it move, you can get texture with it, and we did all of this with willow charcoal, one compressed charcoal pencil, one white charcoal pencil, and a rubber. That's all you need, and you can create some really interesting, lovely paintings. So if you have any questions, now is the time to ask. You've got a couple of minutes before I disappear off. So any questions about anything at all? Of course, if you want to learn more, if you want to do more, you are always welcome in the Smart Art Academy. Doors are always open, because if you want to do something, you want to do it now. You don't want to wait 6 months before a grand opening or anything like that. So doors are always open. You can cancel at any time. There's no holding you there or anything like that. And if you're not ready for that yet, the Sketching Club will just give you the little prompts and little ideas and little helpful hints every single week, dropped into your email. Tessa says, beautiful. Oh, thank you. Karen says, thank you. Oh, thank you to Karen. It's lovely to see everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful bank holiday, whether that's Memorial Day or the late May bank holiday or whatever it is. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful evening, and I will hope to see you on another one of these soon. I'll be another live sketch along on the first Thursday in the month. So a week on Thursday here, same time, and it would be great to see you. Okay, I'm gonna sign off. Have fun, everyone. Bye.